When people hear we are back, they think Potatoes Gang. And many quickly think Washington and think of such television programs that are fairly similar in their approach, like McLaughlin and Company, like Capital Gang. But the truth is that Potatoes Gang is really a reality show that came, well, to television in a different kind of way. Why is it a reality show? Back in the early 80s, when I first returned from graduate studies in America, about 1982, I was fortunate to live in a nice bungalow in Surulere on Eric Moore Close. And it became a kind of melting pot, a kind of stop place for many of the bright, upwardly mobile, young intellectual types in Lagos. And so on their way back from work, many would just drive into my home, toss their jackets to one corner, and in our shirt sleeves, we'll all begin to debate Nigeria over a beer, over a glass of red wine. What can we do about Nigeria? Years later, that became Potatoes Gang, and we are back.
Thank you for being a part of the show. Today, we explore an important topic, today's woman, her hopes and travails. We'll look at what setbacks they face and also what limitations they overcome. Join us for more on this on Potatoes Gang.
All right, well, our world is full of challenges, but thanks to the global community, for a few years now, the month of March has been dedicated to reflecting on the woman. It's probably easier for me as a non-woman, is that the best way to put it, to introduce the conversation because we're faced with many challenges as human society. And one of the challenges that we have, the challenges of how men and women live together and the prospects for all of the human community for this kind of engagement. Women are very, very important economic agents, even though they don't get acknowledged as that. And that's a subject of its own that we need to engage later. But there are issues, one of which I have been very much involved with for about 30 years now, the issue of widows, their rights and widowhood rights in Nigeria. But there are also other issues affecting women in our society today. And the problem of deadbeat dads, fathers who abandon their responsibilities, leave their spouse with children, don't do the needful relative to children. And so there are many women raising children, building literally the next generation for us just on their own, and so on and so forth. Today, what are the challenges that face women in our society? How are women coping with these challenges? I'm blessed amongst women as we begin to engage on this. So perhaps the perspective of the women on the challenges that women face in our society is a good place to start.
Let's bring it down to the nitty-gritty. Majority of Nigerian women, how do they survive? I was raised by a woman who was widowed for the second time at age 36. With 5 children, she said, no more, I'm going to raise my children. And I know the challenges that she faced and how she overcame them. This is the lot of many women. My mother was even a little bit more privileged. There are many women out there who don't have the education, don't have any backing whatsoever. And they are selling the tomato and the pepper in the market. But believe me, from selling that tomato and pepper, they're able to raise their children and train them in universities. Now we have to look at how does society treat such women? And that's where the program you have, the NGO you're running for widows, is such a wonderful idea. Because many of them are out there, don't really know how to cope, but they do. And this is the resilience of the African woman.
Of the Nigerian woman.
She will go out and she will survive. And so no matter how society looks at the women, They are survivors. We are built as shock absorbers. We are multiple tasking. We can do anything and everything. And no matter the abuse you give her, she has a way of crawling back. Now, what we need to be talking about is how do we help such women? Those of us who've gone to school, who are a little bit more self-aware, we can cope a lot better. But the majority of the women out there who are being taken advantage of, who are abused at home physically and mentally and emotionally, what do we do for them? What does government do for them? Having worked as the National Center for Women Development, DG, I am aware of the issues out there. Issues of sexual abuse, even for young women who are trafficked, who are sold. It's incredible. Now, what are we doing as a society? What is the government doing? The government is really not doing enough. The government is not doing anything. And these are women who will give birth to future Nigerians, who are raising Nigerians, politicians, who are raising armed robbers and thugs. So whatever situation the woman finds herself in, believe me, it has a rippling effect on society. So what I'm saying is government has to wake up to its responsibility, to the number of women who are disadvantaged. And first of all, education for women must be at the top of the bill. And we can go on with continuing education. Those who have dropped out of school, somehow bringing them back in.
I think the primary challenge breeds from the orientation of society about women. Now, it goes back to time, back in the day when women, their primary role is in the kitchen and at home. And of course, as society developed and evolved, there was a need for the woman to step out, and bridge that gap, that economic gap for the family. And I think the society will need to accept the woman not just as a mother, a wife, a homekeeper, but also one who has exactly.
I think that's where we have
We're really living in a transition society, and people have not stepped out of traditional definitions to one in this
the role
arrangement.
of the woman.
Yes.
I take one of the issues with widows' rights and all of that. In traditional society, you lost your husband. Your husband's brother ostensibly takes over because he then takes care of you and all of his brother's children alongside raising his own as one. Everybody was one. Now we come into a new age where the man still wants to take advantage of that traditional way to take over all of his brother's properties.
Absolutely.
But then does not continue with the responsibility to the children. And the abuse is horrible. I mean, when we started the Widow Support Center, one of the first things we did was find a group of friends of ours, pro bono, lawyers. One of them is Bingo Yubode, one of the earliest ones, about 1991. And we went to court on cases in which widows were actually being stripped of everything and sometimes accused of killing their husband.
Always.
It's very ironical. I hardly see a woman die and then a man is held responsible for killing the wife in Nigerian society.
That's what we're talking about.
Reorientation.
The woman is so disadvantaged. But I want to puncture something you said earlier about women now finding themselves going to earn. They've always done that. Hello, my grandmothers were making money. Men married wives and had so many children, so he could sit back and play during the day, and these people will go to the farm.
Yes. It varied from culture to culture in Nigeria.
Yes.
But in some cultures, I mean, the men were just no good.
Absolutely. So the woman has always been a breadwinner.
But that was in the traditional setting.
That was an informal way.
Now
we have a formal setting.
I totally understand, but it's important
the modern woman
to make the issue, to make the point that we have always contributed.
Let's pause. We'll come back and try and put some sense for how we should be traveling as a society.
Is Is the government doing enough for women? Are we giving our women enough education? And are societal and traditional roles limiting the woman's potential? We want to hear from you and know what you think. Join us as we go into the streets.
When the government is saying that way, it will be reduced. We don't want people that are just striving to get there.
I'll say their hope is so vast in the sense that first they have to change their orientation themselves. Like the way they do things themselves matters, because when you say someone should help you, you have to help yourself at first. That means do something out of the box. Our women and our children and our little ones, they are the one at the receiving end of the economy, of the recession. So looking at the way the government should come in, it should be a foundation that should cater for these people. Even after they've learned something, establish them, make them grow. There should be a regulatory body that will work on them. Okay, how are they doing this business? Are they doing it well? Are they not doing it well? The way they do it and how they can even grow.
The government is already doing something right now, like by providing loans to microfinance bank. That is for those that have business already. But for those that have no business, so my advice is that government should create a form of vocational training for them so that they will have something to learn. When they learn, they get a skill. Then government, on their part, should now provide soft loan for them so that they can start up a business based on the skill they acquired.
I want to believe that education of the girl child is a very paramount aspect that we need to really explore, especially in places like the northern parts of the country. And secondly, I want to make us look into what we call learning trade. That's generally in Nigeria we call it handwork. Yeah, when a woman learns a trade, that's when she has a particular craft in her hands. That makes her more of independent and thereby contributing very much more than what we expect to the economy of the nation.
Big problems are out there. The question is how we're going to find solutions as a society to these big challenges. One of the big problems facing relationships in our culture is that as women become more professionally successful, a lot of men become insecure, and it is creating problems. I can tell you a story. I was teaching a class of executives many years ago, an executive MBA class, and there was a very successful professional woman in the class, and she was wearing these very fancy sunshades. And so I made a joke. I always make a joke of everything in my class. I made a joke of the fashion coming to the classroom and stuff. And everybody kind of laughed. And then after class, she came to my office and said, well, I'm sorry, I wasn't bringing fashion to the classroom. I actually got battered this morning for not paying children's school fees on time.
Oh my God.
And so we have situations like that. How can we counsel couples generally, men, women, so that we are better adjusted to these new situations and the unfortunate increased insecurity of some men who grew up in certain kinds of settings with this transition?
If you had an idea, the number of women that you know, high-powered women who go through this in their homes and have had to live with it, you will be shocked.
That is first degree
And many
abuse.
women don't have the guts to pull away, because being married in the Nigerian society is so vital to your identity,
Self-worth.
your
Sense of
self-worth,
self-worth.
Prestige.
yes, everything. So you can't leave, and then the children are watching it, and they grow up. The boys grow up to batter their own wives. The girls grow up to take it. And it goes round. Now, what has happened is that some women, particularly in this modern age, have said, no, I'm not going to be a missus. I am going to be me. I'm going to do me. I'm going to be self-actualizing. I'm going to contribute to society. I'm going to be everything that God has created me to be. If there is a man by my side who understands and can support, as well as I'm willing to support him, that's perfect. But if there is not, I'm going to do it alone. And so the life of a woman in this society is so complicated. And that's why we are always grateful to God for giving us the grace to be able to hold on, to do what we need to do, raise our children, contribute to society, and be happy ourselves. And what brings that happiness is that fact that you are self-actualizing. Another thing I want to quickly mention, because I don't want to hold this conversation, is the issue of some parts of Nigeria where women are not allowed to inherit property. I come from that part of Nigeria. And no matter all the contributions I made to my family, I wasn't allowed to inherit even a piece of land that my mother sold to me, and she did it on purpose. She said, this is not your father's property that they can deny you. This is mine. I bought it, and I'm going to sell it to you for a profit, because I want, if you're going to build near the family house, because you are the person that is going to take care of this family. As soon as my mother was gone, that piece of land was taken from me.
What part of the country is that this?
Southeast.
It's in the southeast. And so you have women who go through, and when your husband dies, my uncle came to our house in Port Harcourt. He was staying with us and sold all my father's land, took the money and went away. And he wasn't even raising his own children. His own children were living with us. And my mother continued to raise his own children. The life of a woman, and when I hear young people or I read what do women want, I go, oh no. We are in trouble here. We women have to begin to educate our children, because we're responsible for raising them. You have to start when they're yay big to educate them about the role of a woman, the worth of a woman as a human being, and the respect that that woman must be given in society. That's where it will begin to change.
Okay, so taking us back a bit, you talk about women empowerment. Yes, there are some women who are genuinely, fitting into that role of caring for the family. And they do it with nobility. But there are some women as well who rub it in the faces of their spouses.
Definitely.
And that in itself, it's a problem, it's a challenge, because
Absolutely.
that can incite anyone, regardless of how calm or how calculated you are. So that again should be addressed. And I also know that there are some organizations that also take care of women affairs. When you talk about this inheritance and all of that. So maybe they should rise up to that responsibility and take it to the next level.
The Supreme Court has passed a judgment on it, that we are entitled. So I'm looking for the person that's going to take my land. I'm waiting for them, because now I have the backing of the court.
Yeah. But then, I find that whole tradition, there's a justification in former times, but I find it a very strange thing. I cannot imagine loving some of my children more than the others, and the way that I have gone about it, it's a friend of mine who advises people on this, that I have a trust, a company that owns everything that I have, and all of my children are equal shareholders in this company, and everybody gets the share of a stake. So we live in a completely different age for those who still think in those ways, and we need to find ways of educating people, both men and women, to be able to live in a way that will lead to their.
I think that one of the things that this program is doing right now is getting to educate the ladies. I can't imagine her story. I can't imagine your mom selling off her land to you, and then some uncle somewhere says, because you are a woman, you cannot own land. This is abuse. The word is abuse. This is abuse. This is dehumanizing the girl because she is a girl. This is stripping her of her rights.
Think of it this way: there's a lot of abuse in our environment, whether it's the women to
No, sir. I think in this case it's the women. It's the female. The fact that somebody is a female does not mean she's any different from the male.
Absolutely. And we have, many of us have fought it. And you know, society labels us as aggressive. Oh, who does she think she is?
Oh, she's a feminist.
She's so full of herself. And she's a I'm one of those that will stand up and say, yes, I am a feminist.
Yeah. The thing is that through history, there have been groups of people who have been oppressed for different reasons. And they have fought oppression, and times have changed. I remember we used to be slaves. When William Wilberforce began his campaign, he looked like some crazy guy, but he persisted and kept on going until the world listened. And so we must see ourselves, people who commit to this kind of a way of thinking, as missionaries. And you don't have to be an army. Again, I keep repeating the famous Margaret Mead statement, and she was phenomenal in that statement, that we should never underestimate what a group, a few committed individuals can do to change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And so people who have commitment to seeing that there's something wrong in the way that we have treated our women folk who contribute so much. I am the product of a hard-working mother, and I think that most men have had that experience, that they're the product of a passionate mother. And if we fail to do something to change the way that we behave, we suboptimize in a way that puts our own children at disadvantage of a better future.
I quickly have to say this. I'm not married yet. I want to get married and have a child. And I want to have a child who looks exactly like me. Now, whatever it is, I want to see a girl, my daughter, grow up, understand that being a woman does not in any way limit her. She's got to understand that as a lady, she's got potentials, that being married or not being married should not limit her to do or to becoming whatever it is that she wants to become.
That's our
society gets to score us as women whether we get married or we're not married. It's beautiful to get married. I mean, it's very beautiful. But we've got to have brothers and fathers who are listening, who need to groom their children and friends to please understand that as the woman gets to support you to achieve her dream, the female also has got a vision that she's pursuing, and you've got to support it.
Anyway, the good news is that at least we are not set in that primary, local or old ways
it
of
still
doing
happens
things.
still.
Yeah, it's still happening, but the number, the percentage has grossly reduced.
Things are changing.
You know, women are stepping up out of their comfort zones, out of the boxes the society have put them, and they're making waves. They're doing distinctively well.
Time has put us in a non-comfort zone, and we have to go.
Right.
We'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for being a part of today's show. We ask you to keep the conversation going by following us on all our social media platforms as they are displayed on your screen right now. If you missed the episodes before now or today's episode, don't worry. You can simply go to our YouTube channel at Patitos Gang TV, subscribe to our channel and watch whatever videos you would like to watch. Till next time, my name is Fumbi Ogumbawo. Take care.